Good evening, students of class 10. Your exams are actually nearing, and considering that, I'll give you few quick tips and solution methods in general on your coordinate geometry. Okay, class 10 CBSE students in particular have very limited course regarding coordinate geometry. There are a few basic formulae that you should know. You should also learn how to derive them. But just trying to save some time, I am simply writing those formula. The first one that you will be using is distance formula. Distance formula. Now, any point on the Cartesian plane can be represented by using coordinate system. For example, if we have one point, say A, and its coordinates are x1, y1, and another point is B, whose coordinates are x2 and y2, and you want to find the distance between these 2 points. The formula is very simple. You can use distance equals to square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Now, if 2 points are given with their coordinates, so then using this formula, you can find the distance between these 2 points quite easily. One more thing I would like to remind you, that any point on x-axis, has y coordinate as 0. So in general, this can be written as p comma 0 or x comma 0. Y coordinate has to be 0. Same way, if any point on y-axis, it will be in the form of 0 comma p. Okay, you need to know this. Now, what is the use of distance formula? One very simple example I'll take. Suppose I want to find the distance between 2 points A and B, whose coordinates are, say, 2 comma 3 and 4 comma 1. One of them you can designate as x1 y1 and another is x2 y2. So use the formula. AB distance will be a square root of x2 minus x1, that is 4 minus 2 whole square, plus y2 minus y1, that is 1 minus 3 whole square. So you get 2 square, that is 4, minus 2 square is again 4. So square root of it, unit is your answer. Now, what is the use of this distance formula? What kind of question can be asked in CBSE examination, board examination? You have to find the distance between any two given points, and this particular concept can be used for determining whether given 3 points are collinear or not. This is the first thing. A, B, C. Suppose their coordinates are given, say 1 comma 2, 4 comma 2, minus 3 comma 2, and you want to check whether these 3 points lie on the same line or not. So the simplest test can be, you can find the distance AB and also the distance BC, and thirdly you can find the distance between AC. If sum of AB and BC happens to be AC, then these 3 points are on the same line, means they are collinear. Collinear means they are on the same line. Okay. Now, what kind of questions, other questions can be asked on this particular concept? They can give you 4 points and they can ask you whether these 4 points together form a simple quadrilateral or a parallelogram or a square or a rectangle. Now, The property of parallelogram, as you are well aware, parallelogram has its opposite sides equal. If A, B, C, D are 4 points and you want to check whether these 4 points form a parallelogram or not. Now I take for example A coordinate -1, -2, coordinate of point B 1, 0, coordinate of point C -1, 2, and coordinates of point D as -3, 0. We can find the distance of AB by the distance formula that we have already discussed. DC, AD, and BC. For parallelograms, the basic requirement is that the opposite sides should be equal. If AB is equal to DC and AD is equal to BC, if these two conditions are satisfied, I mean if AB is equal to DC and AD is equal to BC, so it will prove beyond any kind of doubt that this is a parallelogram. But they further may ask you whether it is a rectangle or not. So for rectangle, apart from the opposite sides being equal, we have to use some additional property, that is, the diagonals should also be equal. You can find AC, you can find BD, again using distance formula. If AC and BD is equal, along with these two conditions, that AB is equal to DC and AD is equal to BC, then it will be a rectangle. Same way, if it is a square or rhombus, to prove that, we need to find all the 4 sides. Like for example, if it comes AB is equal to BC is equal to CD is equal to AD, then we are sure that at least it has to be rhombus. Because in rhombus, 4 sides are equal, that is a sufficient condition. But again, they can ask you whether it is a square or not. So for a square, you again have to check diagonals. If the diagonals are equal, apart from the fact that the sides are equal, then it is a square. Now let's sum up what we have learned. For ABCD to be a parallelogram, you have to show that AB is equal to DC and AD is equal to BC. But if you have to prove that it is a rectangle, so in this only you can have to add one more extra condition, that is AC is equal to BD. Means in rectangle you have to prove that diagonals are equal. Now to prove whether it is a rhombus or not. So for rhombus, all 4 sides should be equal. So you want to prove AB is equal to BC, which is equal to CD and equal to AD. But that will prove that it is a rhombus. This particular figure is a rhombus. But to prove a square, one additional condition we have to do again. Apart from this, you have to show that diagonals are equal. Okay. So this is the distance formula and its application. Now the second topic that you are going to learn, or you have to practice, is the section formula. What is section formula? Let's consider a line segment AB. Say a coordinate of A is 2, 3 and that of B is say 4, 7. Just for an example. Now, if I take any particular point P in between A and B, then the point P will divide AB in certain ratio, 1:2, 2:3, 3:4, 4:1, whatever. Now, if I consider, or just take for example, the ratio to be M1 is to M2, and you want to find the coordinate of point P. So you want to find the coordinate of point P which divides line segment AB in certain ratio. So let's consider point P and its coordinate. We can take x comma y. For point A the coordinates I will take x1 y1, and for B we can take x2 y2 and use the formula. Formula should be x equals to m1 into x2 m1 into x2 plus m2 into x1 upon m1 plus m2. The same way, to find y, we can use m1 y2 plus m2 y1 upon m1 plus m2. For example, in this particular case, if I want to find x and if I take the ratio to be, say, 1:2, m1 is 1 and m2 is 2. So x will be m1 x2, that is 1 into 4, plus m2 x1, that is 2 into 2, upon 1 plus 2, that is 4 plus 4, 5, 5 upon 3. The same way y will be 1 into 7 m1 into y2 plus m2 into y1, that is 2 into 3, and 1 plus 2 m1 plus m2. So 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 upon 3 will be the coordinate of point P. 5 by 3 and 13 by 3. Now, if you take it is general case. If I take a special case that P is the midpoint, then the ratio between AP and PB will be of 1:1 because it is equal. So for midpoint, if P happens to be midpoint of AB, because the ratio is 1:1, so replace 1 for m1 and 1 for m2, same way, m1 plus 1. So it will be 1 into x2 x2, 1 into x1 x1, 1 plus 1 2. So for midpoint x will be x2 plus x1 upon 2, and the same way y will be y2 plus y1 upon 2. Okay, so if you want to find the coordinate of a point which divides a line segment joining two points whose coordinates are already given in particular certain ratio, so you can use this formula. For midpoint, it will simplify as x equals to x2 plus x1 upon 2, y equals to y2 plus y1 upon 2. Now the question is, what type of question may be asked? Like one question they usually ask just to check whether you are familiar with the coordinate system or not. Like for example, a point on x-axis which is equidistant from 2 points and the points are given. Suppose you take any point on x-axis. They ask you, I repeat, find a point on x-axis which is equidistant from 2 points whose coordinates are given at example 2 comma minus 5 and minus 2 comma 9. Now, distance formula we are already familiar with. If I take any point P here, because it is on x-axis, so its coordinate we can take, say, x comma 0. Now using distance formula, find the distance between PA and PB, and equating these two distances, you will be able to find x and hence the point P. Suppose by solving we get x equals to 2, so the required point on x-axis is 2 comma 0. Okay, now in section formula, sometimes you have to find the ratio. The ratio in which the given point, given line segment is divided by particular point. For example, find the ratio in which line segment joining minus 3 comma 10, suppose you have a line segment joining minus 3 comma 10 and 6 comma minus 8. In what ratio the line joining these 2 points is divided by a point having coordinate minus 1 comma 6? What you are going to do? Using section formula, I can just represent x1 y1, x2 y2, and this is xy. The ratio is unknown to me. Ratio I may take as k is to 1 because we don't know what is the ratio. We can't take two unknowns because there will be two equations, we can't solve that. So we'll taking k is to 1 and ratio is particularly constant. So this is xy. You can take it as m1 and m2. Now you can use any of them because x coordinate as well as y coordinate is given. So you can use any of them. Suppose I use x. So I'll write the formula. X equals to m1 x2 plus m2 x1 upon m1 plus m2. X is minus 1. M1 is k into 6, that is 6k. M2 into x1, that is minus 3 upon k plus 1. Now simplify. Minus k minus 1 is equal to 6k minus 3. So minus 1 plus 3 is equal to 6k plus k. So 2 is equal to 7k. 2 upon 7 is equal to k. So required ratio is 2 is to 7. Now here both x and y was known to you, so you could use any of them. But sometimes they will twist this question by saying that find a point on x-axis or y-axis, suppose y-axis, which divides AB in the ratio, certain ratio. So for that, on y-axis x coordinate is 0. So I can take this point as 0 comma p. Using here I'll put for x I'll put 0. Ratio is unknown to me, k is to 1. Using that I'll find k. Then they can also ask me to find y coordinate. Then we can find the p by the same formula. Now sometimes you have to divide a line in two parts having the ratio say 1 is to 1, that is midpoint. They can tell you to divide AB in the ratio 2 is to 3. Okay. Sometimes they will tell you to divide it in 4 parts, or you have to find 3 points in between AB, which divides it into 4 equal parts. So coordinate of A will be given, say for example 4 comma 8 and minus 6 comma say 8. Then Q will be the midpoint because 2 part this side, 2 part this side. So using midpoint you can find this. Can you do it orally? X is x1 plus x2 upon 2. So 4 minus 6 upon 2, that is minus 1. Then 8 plus 8, 16 upon 2, that is 8. X equals to x1 plus x2 upon 2 because here the ratio was 1 is to 1. Now the same logic I can take for P also because P is the midpoint of AQ. So by the same logic, x1 plus x2 upon 2, 4 minus 1, 3, 3 upon 2, comma, 8 plus 8, 16 upon 2, that is 8, and so on. So these are a few questions on section formula that may be asked. There is one more question I would like to discuss with you. Determine the ratio in which a line segment joining points A, B, whose coordinates are 2 comma minus 2 and 3 comma 7. you want to find the ratio in which this line segment joining points A and B is divided by second line, whose equation is given, say 2x plus y minus 4 equals to 0. You want to find in what ratio this particular point is dividing AB. So I can take the ratio as to be Kn1, M1, M2, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, right? Now, by using section formula, I can find the coordinates of this point in terms of K, because K is involved here. Now, X coordinate and Y coordinate of this point lies on this line. So it will satisfy equation. So you can put the value of X and Y that you get from here, and then you can solve for it. You'll get the value of K, and you'll know in what ratio point line this is going to divide line segment AB. This is for now. More you will have in the next session. Thank you very much.